welcome. I'm gonna lower this just a little bit. Well, hello and welcome. My name is Alicia. I am the Fanciful Flamingo. And if you've stumbled across my channel, it is mostly about cross stitch, but I also do thrift and antique a lot. And I'll be sharing a little bit of that with you today. Happy April already. It kind of snuck up on me with Easter being the first weekend. I wanted to film in March, but I kept saying, I'll finish Antonio Puello and then I'll film. I'll finish Antonio Puello and then I'll film. And Antonio Puello took me a little bit longer than I thought, but I reached my goal and I finished her on March 31st, which is one of the things that we'll be talking about today. My last few videos have been kind of short for me, about 30 minutes. I promise you, this one will be longer because I have been stitching up a storm. I have been antiquing up a storm. And I went to the cross stitch covered aftermarket to pick up my purchases. And so we'll be talking about that as well as some other things that I might have picked up along the way. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, maybe in an antique cup. Might want to get a snack because like I said, this could be a long one and I'd hate for your sugar to drop. And let's settle down and catch up. Well, let's just start with my biggest piece, and that is Antonio Puello, which was a Spanish sampler that Evertote released maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and it had a Roxy Flosco conversion. And I picked it up, and originally I thought I was going to stitch it in memory of my mother, but as I started stitching it, the colors were very muted, and as I've mentioned in other floss tubes, my mother loved bright colors and her favorite color was orange, blue and orange. So as I started stitching it, it just didn't feel like her, but it did feel like my grandmother. And so I changed who I was going to make it in memory of. And I finally finished her. And I monogamously stitched her for about 2 months. And I don't even know if she'll fit completely. She's a big girl. She is a big girl. She had 6 borders, 6. And alphabets. And if I've mentioned before, growing up in Spain, I took needleworking, the nuns taught us, and we had booklets. And we would graduate from one alphabet and one border into another booklet. And then as a finishing piece, we merged it all together. Did not create our own sampler, but I kind of feel like Antonio Puello, and this was dated the original is dated 1913. It's probably what she did. So I changed up the bottom quite a bit, and I'm going to apologize. I don't have the original with me, but hers said por, which means by, Antonio Puello, 1913. Mine says para, which is for instead of by, and my grandmother's name was Ignacia Gracia Lisboa, and she was born in 1900. This bottom border had a little bit of this and numbers, and I switched it up and I did this border all the way across, and I put this little border here at the top. And I just picked that from the side. Now, I took inspiration from some of the letters in what was her name. And obviously this did not have a complete alphabet to personalize it. So I took inspiration from the first P, as I've shown you. And I picked out a couple of the letters that were in her name. And then I went to this book that I actually thrifted at some point, Alphabets and Borders, Better Homes and Gardens, and I looked through it and I found an alphabet that I could play with and kind of combine the alphabet from this book and the letters in Antonio Puello's name, and I was able to chart out my grandmother's name. So I am so happy with this. I have found that these pieces are so therapeutic because, again, as I stitched it, I thought about growing up with my grandmother. She died in 1991 when I was 21. So I had some time with her. And I just stitched and remembered my childhood and remembered pieces of her life. And yeah, and hold on one second because I actually have her wedding picture. So hold on one moment. Hope I didn't keep you waiting too long. So this is my grandmother and grandfather, maternal, on their wedding day. This was the turn of the century, and getting married in black was all the rage. I actually have this comb. It's a tortoiseshell comb, and it was passed to my mother, and my mother passed it to me. And so I have this. His name was Miguel. I don't know the year that they were married. This is a copy of the original, so it doesn't have any dates on the back, but this was their wedding picture. And I am going to reframe this and put it with this sampler. So thank you for sharing a little bit of my family with me. And just to keep on that, this was my beautiful mother. And this was my handsome father. And I have their wedding picture, and when I find one that fits my mom, I'll do the same for her, and it's going to go along a long hallway that we have that has family photos on it. So I worked on that quite a bit. One little small one that I did for America's anniversary was just this 1776, and I picked up this little chart last year when we visited Philadelphia at just one of the little gift shops. And I think I'm gonna make it like a little scissor fob, maybe. That's my thought on this one. It was a kit. Now it did have like an Ada, a larger sized Ada, and I just went and picked up just a scrap piece of, this almost looks like an even weave, but it's like a 32 count. But I just used the thread, and I'm gonna assume it was like a DMC that was in it. So that was just a little day thing. And here is its little chart. And I was gonna see if it said where I picked it up. We went everywhere in Philadelphia. The other thing that I had shown that I had stitched but not finished was this little freebie piece that I got at the Cross Stitch Cupboard. Every month she has another freebie, which is another fun reason to go visit your LNS. And this is one of the little replica Paul Revere bowls that I talk about thrifting. And so I just took a piece of foam, like floral foam, and I wrapped it in some batting and then stitched it in the back. And then I just put a little piece of Lady Dot chenille trim around it. Now I did not put a magnet. I may still put a magnet on this so it holds a little firmer, but I figured, you know, when I want to switch out the season or whatever, just plop this one in and find another one for it. So I love to look for all sizes of these. And so I FFO'd that since the last time we talked. And then, oh, I did take a break from stitching on samplers after I finished Antonio Puello, and I have been wanting to do, I've had the pears for years, the Annie B's pears, and my thought was to stitch some and finish them and put them in a bowl. And so the one that I chose to do first, is it in here? It is, hold on. Let me take it out, bear with me. It's been a minute since I've done a floss tube. I'm just so excited. I decided to do the blue work pears. And these were stitched with dinky dyes, and I have a few dinky dyes, but I did not have this color. I don't know why it's not wanting to focus very well. I thought these were big old pears. They're little. And you could do one a day. You could do one in a sitting, and I did all three. So I did the three that were in that set. And it has great instructions, so I am going to try to finish these myself into pairs. So I did that already in April. Like I said, I finished Antonio Puello. It's the only thing I worked in March. Then I have the spring green pears that I want to do. And from Market, Karen picked up for me the Americana pears. So, and I did these on toasted marshmallow. And I did it on a 32 count Lugana that I had. This was from Grace Notes, toasted marshmallow, 32 count Lugana. Just been trying to use up some of the fabric that I have, and I already have the green that I'm gonna use. So I bought a whole bunch of this, and this is Friendship Green by Fabrics by Steph. And it is a 32 count linen. And so Friendship Green, that's what I'm gonna use for the next set. And I've already got the next 3 little squares. I'm gonna continue on with the toasted marshmallow. I must have had like a fat quarter, and so I just cut them all up, serged them, and they're ready to go. So I think I'm gonna work on the Americana when I finish this next project, which is almost done. And last week I started Bird of Bordeaux by the Proper Stitcher. This was a release from Nashville Market last year, and I have had it to do, and I wanted to do it in the Belle Soie, and Karen finally ordered it for me. Not finally from Karen's end, but mine. Finally pulled the trigger, ordered all of the Belle Soie. It came in last week, went up last Thursday, and started stitching on it immediately. And Belle Soie is just one of those threads that's just. And so I've been working on it, and I've been actually working on it a little bit this morning, and I only have the flowers right here to go, and she'll be done. And I think of my friend, Contented Needleworker Kim, when I stitch on this, because we both like to stitch birds. I think I'm gonna do this one in a round frame. I'm not gonna do the frame, my framer, but I think that's what I'm gonna do. But I feel like if, for sure, by this weekend she'll be done. I'm hoping to get her done today, but my boys keep me busy with after school activities. They do. And that has been my stitching, which, for having worked on Antonio Puello for so long, I feel like April has just been gangbusters. My needle has been quite busy, and I love it. So that's my stitching portion. Y'all want to get into some of my shopping portion? It's a big one this time. I haven't shopped in a while for cross stitch. And so let me pull everything together, and then y'all might need to refresh your coffee and get another snack, because this one's going to be a minute. So I'm going to start with some non-stitchy stuff that I've bought. If you know me, if you have been here for more than a second, I cannot resist a Mojo Stitches bag. I just can't. I can't. And so she had shown this fabric with the chickens. And if you also know me, you know that I'm very bitter that I live in an HOA and I can't have real chickens. And so I just had to have this bag. I had to have it. And, you know, chicken's a bird. Right? It's poultry. Is it a bird? Is it fowl? It's got feathers. Goose is probably yelling at me through the screen. I'm not a chicken expert, people, although I do know that there are egg-laying chickens and meat chickens. You can thank Goose for that too. Garden Goose, Teresa McMath. And if you've never watched her, you need to. She's a hoot and a half. So I got this from Mojo Stitches. Love it. And then Annie talked about this book on Tennessee samplers. And in all fairness, she said it was a big book. I was thinking she meant like big, like it's coffee table size. Y'all, the Bible is thinner. Do people in Tennessee have nothing better to do? This is Tennessee samplers. It is fascinating, though. It's from 1800 to 1900. And she and I were talking, and it's neat to see how different regions, even in the United States, I mean, you can talk about samplers from Spain or samplers from France or samplers from England, into the different parts of England, but even within the United States. And we're a relatively young country compared to others, but how the sample styles differ from regions. So I have skimmed through this, kind of like I skimmed through the Bible, and I am gonna sit. I'm afraid to use it as a coffee table book because I think my coffee table will buckle. But I got mine off of Amazon, and came in like 2 days because apparently Amazon knew I needed it. And then I bought some more fabric from Fat Quarter Shop. This is Free Spirit, and I don't have my glass, by Morris and Company. And so y'all can see some of it. I love blues and greens, and this is just for pillows. I use these for pillows. And then I do the slit in the back of my pillows, so I love to get the little squares. And this was just a complimentary pack. So I got this as well from Fat Quarter Shop. So those are little Stitchy adjacent. And then I usually do not buy cross stitch or needlework that I find in thrift stores. I mean, my walls are gonna crumble one day. My husband says that our walls look like a colander. They have so many holes in it. And while I admire other people's work, I have my own. Having said that, I stumbled across this last week at a thrift store. And I said, well, I'm gonna break my rule and I'm gonna buy it. $9.99. I know, we can all take a moment and gasp at what, if a far stitch pieces even make it to the thrift store, what they're gonna go for. But, and especially with this year, it is a beautiful frame, and the backing is still intact, which is very odd because usually this little paper gets very brittle. I am not going to keep it in this frame. I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna give it a good cleaning, and I think I'm gonna make it into a pillow and just leave it out. But it is stunning. Stunning. So I bought that. And that is it for my cross stitch adjacent. Then I have joined, my mind just went blank. Antique Needleworkers. No. While I love her, that is not who it is. And I'm sorry, my mind has gone blank. But I have joined a new, my mind has gone completely blank, y'all. I am so sorry. Menopause, good morning. Subscription for fabric. Ended some, started this one. This is 32 count chai. Now, where are my glasses? Problem is now my prescription's changing. If I put my glasses on, you're fuzzy. And this is Seraphim Fabrics, 32 count chai. I mean, the neutrals are neutralizing. That's what I'm gonna tell you now. This one doesn't have its tag. This is also a Seraphim, and this is Elizabeth. Victorian Rose Needle Arts. Good grief, Tinka. I am so sorry. My mind went completely blank. Victorian Rose Needle Arts has a fabric subscription, and I have joined it. And these are my first two. And this is Elizabeth. What you say? The neutrals are neutralizing? Yep. And then, although I have 3 full drawers of a dresser of fabric, I said I didn't need any more. Color and Cotton had a pre-order a few months ago, and Color and Cotton had a pre-order a few months ago. That's all that needs to be said, and it came in. So I've got Treasure Map, 32 count. I have Tea Cake, 32 count. I had gone up to 36. I've been doing a lot of 32 just because, like I said, I need to get a new prescription. But my eyes are tired. This is graham cracker. And this is Blarney Stone. And I don't know if you've picked up on what I like to stitch on. Neutrals. So, those two came. But then, I went to visit my favorite person in the whole world, Karen Owens, at the cross stitch cupboard. And I bought. And then I bought some more. And then I left and she called me and said there was a whole nother bag that she'd been holding from market. This wasn't even all of my market order. We won't talk about that. And those receipts need to be shredded. So, of course, I got the Prairie Schooler Santa for this year. I have stitched every one since 1996, which is the year I got married. Like everyone else, I haven't been thrilled with the last couple years, but this one, golly dang, on the mark. They say this might be the last year, but you know what? If it's not, I'll continue to stitch. So I picked up that. This was a new one, or new colors, I think, that came out at market. And so I got all of those because, you know, I need every single piece of floss that has ever come out in the history of floss. I do have entire sets of like the Classic and the Weeks and the Gentle Arts. I think, the full set of Color and Cotton too, truth be told. And a Little Flower. I might move on to Belle Soie this year, but that's an investment and a half. And then, because I just felt like I didn't have enough neutral colored fabric, and she had Mason linen. It's like Charmin soft. So I got Antique Button in 36 count. I got a limited edition NV26, whatever that means, in a 36 count. I got another this is Haberdashery. I don't know what the NV26 means. Also in a 36 count. And just to break it up, I got another limited edition color in 32 count. I think I heard some of y'all fall off your chairs. I'll give y'all a second to pick yourselves back up. I know, right? Not a neutral. And so, I bought the Patriotic pears, which I will not be doing in the 3 colors. I'm just gonna do it. I think what I'm going to do is do them all in the neutral and just change the floss color. Although I have that blue now. Good. You never know. Not Forgotten Farm. We've all seen him. We all love him. We all had to have him. Betsy. And I visited the Betsy Ross house and made my family go through it with me last year when we were in Philadelphia. And I actually have a couple little cross-stitch kits that they sold there. And so I think I'm going to do a little vignette. Yep. Lord knows I have enough antique bowls now to do it. And then, if you know, you know, last year I bought 2 sets of the animal crackers. Let's not discuss that. I've done 1 animal cracker. But I had to have Abigail. Sorry, not sorry, I had to have her. And then I had to have Olive. You cannot be friends with Goose and not get the Goose. You just can't. I think she would disown me. And so, the Cross Stitch Cupboard and I have combined our resources, and the grand raffle prize for Stitch Florida 2026 will be the complete and entire set of animal crackers. Yes, Bring your money. You're going to want to buy some raffle tickets. Get your ticket to Stitch Florida 2026 because the raffle grand prize, and everybody's going to throw all their tickets in that bucket, is going to be the full library of animal crackers. Y'all can thank me for my shopping compulsions. And the cross stitch cupboard, who has very graciously offered to fill in the gaps for me and donate those. Then, of course, I got One Flag, One Land, Brenda Gervais. Look, I said I wasn't going to buy market releases, and I didn't before market or at market. So I kept my word. Birds, 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 birds. Love them, love them, love them. And I think that one of the premier designers of birds is Mojo Stitches. I know that Contented Needleworker Kim is back there going, amen, sister. Amen. Yes. Yes. Look at that. Among the Roses. I might have to stitch her next. You know what? I'm going to put her right there. And then, just because it wouldn't be me if it wasn't me, she had one in the box for me, and then I saw it, and I bought another one. So I actually bought two of these. So, this will be a giveaway. Hello. Hello. Stop it, I just can't. Then I did get Frosty Pals. Because, you know, when I finish making all of my animal crackers, I'll start on these. Then I got this one from Jan Hicks Creates. Love it. Flowers and alphabets and the colors. And then, if this does not say Alicia Villarchow, Fanciful Flamingo, there's never been another one, another chart in the history of charts. I know y'all thought it was gonna have a flamingo, but no. Flowers, blue, white, green, all of it. Yes, please. Alphabet. Tell me more. You had me at hello. That is stunning. Y'all don't mind me continue? Talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna stare at it for a little bit. I'm telling you, Jan Hicks had my number this year. You'd think we were besties. My ladies' posies. Another one. And it's just going with everything I've been antiquing. And then Jean Farish, who I have met, and the first sampler I ever did was her Two Turtles and a Flamingo from one of her cruises a few years ago. She's the first designer I ever met. I met her at the cross stitch cupboard, and she has the sweetest little stockings. Yeah. And if y'all know, y'all know. Y'all are probably thinking, oh, she restrained herself this year. I did. I love Cosford Rice. I met her 2 years ago, and I think I just about have anything that she has ever designed. But, you know, my daughter has a cat. She tried to get me to agree to another cat this week. I was weak, but not that weak. But Cosford Rice had designed this one. And my daughter's like me and she loves pink and green. I mean, if you've met her, if you've ever seen her, people call us copy and paste. We are identical in our looks, in our demeanor, in our build, everything. I mean, it truly is. My daughter and I are copy and paste, and my husband and son are copy and paste. It is. And then Jason is a mix of all. Our second son is a mix of all of us. Lord bless him. So she wants the cat to be more browns because Rain is brown. And so I think I'm gonna try to do some variegated flosses and some pink and some green. But I'm gonna do that one for Emily. And then tomato. I'll stitch it, but Deb Pryor, this will be coming to you. Deb Pryor makes the most beautiful tomatoes that you have ever seen in your life. And she will be at my retreat selling them. I have every one that she has ever made. I have bought one. The big ones, the medium ones, the ones on spools, the little fobs for my scissors. If Deb makes a tomato, I must have it. So I will stitch this, but I will send it to Deb to make. And y'all, not too shabby. And then, y'all know I've been thrifting and antiquing, and I post about that all the time. And not going to go through everything that I've thrifted or antiqued because that would be like the Godfather trilogy. But I picked this up yesterday. I don't know, I visited like 4 thrift stores yesterday, but I picked this up. And it's brass, and I love everything brass, and it is so cool. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with it, though? Pin cushion. Can you see it? Pin cushion. I thought about doing it with just a pretty fabric, which I could take one of these fabrics and make a pin cushion. But I think that I'm going to do a pin cushion and do a flower. I might pick maybe something from Bordeaux, maybe this little rose, or let's see, we could pick something from Jan Hicks, couldn't we? We sure could. She gave me lots of flowers to work with this year. This one has some small little sweet flowers on it. And I'm gonna stitch it and put it there. And tell me that that is not gonna make the most exquisite, interesting pin cushion. And I'm gonna have a lot of things like this at my table at Stitch Florida for y'all to buy and create with. Tiger Lily, I might have to come up to Clemson because you've got some pretty brass pieces too that you've picked up somewhere. And we may have to create together. And y'all, I would be anxious to see when I put all this together how long this floss tube is today, because I feel like we have just visited for quite a while. I've been wanting to do this all week, but it's been icky and rainy and cloudy and my house gets dark. It looks like it's gonna rain this afternoon, but I had enough light coming through the slider and then from my dining room. This is my dining room. Behind us, I do have a fireplace in my dining room. And I said, this is it. It's now or never for April. So I hope everyone had a wonderful Easter Passover, whatever you celebrate. I hope you spent some time with family or friends that are like family. As an only child, I appreciate all of my sisters in Christ that are there for me all of the time. I thank you all for all of your prayers and kind thoughts and reaching out from my last floss tube and what I shared with you guys. I have had more testing done, and I will say that it did not come out as good as I was hoping. So we are going forward with some things, and I ask for your understanding as I keep those details private for a little bit longer while I process them. But, you know, I wish you all joy. Joy is a choice, and we can make it every single day. And until next time, best wishes to each and every one of you. And thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Bye, y'all.